little ways west of Pittsburgh lays the Beaver Valley Mall, a troubled mall limping along in limbo. Although clearly struggling, some interesting things have helped it last just a little bit longer. I'll go into detail as we tour this mall. As an unlikely Cafaro original, Beaver Valley Mall had the Joseph Horn Company, Gimbels, and Sears as its original anchors when it opened in 1970. While the mall hasn't changed too much over the years, it did open to much fanfare, with Horns hosting a ribbon-cutting ceremony to herald the new store. The mall quickly came under fire for controversy in the 80s over its lacking security presence, as the mall became site to a large number of vehicle thefts and, rape. Seriously, what the hell, Monica? Nonetheless, this highlighted concerns that the security was not up to par, with the Post-Gazette comparing Beaver Valley to malls reported to have much stronger security forces, like Monroeville Mall and even Century 3 Mall. The mall was even beginning to lose shoppers as Monroeville Mall, South Hills Village, and even Century 3 began taking over. To combat this, they initiated a major renovation in 1990, which did actually work out for the mall. While Gimbels closed and got replaced by Kaufmann's, the mall secured its place once more, eventually getting a hold of a JCPenney in 1998. Meanwhile, Horns would get rebranded into Lazarus before closing in 1998. But that's okay, because Boscov's would come to take its place. A step up, in my humble opinion. With the mall securing its place, it would remain stable over the 2000s, maintaining Kaufmann's as it got rebranded into Macy's in 2006, while Dick's Sporting Goods signed on in 2007 as a junior anchor. Unfortunately, this would be the last of the good times, as the 2010s rolled in along with a recession. It also did not help that Beaver County was already economically depressed at this time. While Cafaro built this mall, it would eventually be sold to Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust, the specific time of which I was unable to find. As the mall began to lag behind in sales, Priet would proceed to sell the mall in 2017, and Namdar would be left with a Sears store that shuttered in 2016, followed by Macy's shortly after the sale of the mall in 2017. Did Namdar do anything to keep the mall on its feet? Surprisingly, yes, they did. They appeared to be committed to keeping this mall going, as they drew in a Rural King for the old Sears. Rural King even hosted a grand opening ceremony in 2018. Meanwhile, U-Haul would purchase the shuttered Macy's and convert that into a storage unit and showroom. Namdar even managed to dodge a bullet when JCPenney announced closure in 2020. While you see store closing signs in this video, I am pleased to say that JCPenney chose to halt closing operations to keep the Beaver Valley store open. Store closing? Fake news. The biggest obstacle going forward for Namdar will be keeping this mall's inlines occupied. The food court still sees decent crowds, and the anchor pads are all still occupied in one way or another, but those inlines will need to be filled in as the Beaver Valley Mall continues on. For a 50-year-old mall, the Beaver Valley Mall could do so much worse. And I'm gonna say this a lot, but it isn't over until the fat lady sings. Make sure she doesn't come around to the Beaver Valley Mall. This mall is deceptively big. It doesn't look all that big on the maps, but then you step inside and it's almost like the corridors just go on and on forever. It's like this mall's bigger on the inside. And I will say that this mall looks pretty good with the early 90s renovation. I just wish the fountains in this mall were turned on. Be it due to 2020 or some bass-ackwards restrictions at the time, they were all just shut off and dry. While the rest of the mall still looks great, the fountains would have tied everything together. That big jet in the center especially. Turn it back on, please. Hi, it's me from the future. I had a full-on rant about modern architecture and the severe lack of aesthetics, but I decided to throw that out and I want to save it for a mall that deserves such a rant. Beaver Valley Mall looks pleasant to be in, even without the fountains on, and I don't want to sour that up too much. Instead, let's focus on the lack of stores and such. How should we fill those vacancies in? One thing I've looked at as a potential are physical activities and venues for such activities. Example, paintball, airsoft, soft darts, laser tag, etc. I get mock combat isn't for everyone, but still, it's something to think about. I would totally be down for Nerf wars or laser tag. And with coordinated teams, you can make room for more professional venues and competitive scenes. I know it's a pipe dream, or shot in the dark, but malls do need to look at reinventing themselves. Maybe my suggestions aren't the answer, but you gotta find something to bring people out to the mall. Another option is to rezone mall space as residential and build single or double bedroom apartments out of them, or even integrate hotel rooms. Most of the infrastructure is already there and just needs some minor demo and construction work. Arcade malls have started going this route, and I know of at least one traditional mall that has pulled it off. I want to try and give every mall a fair shake and paint a hopeful picture. I don't want to give up on Beaver Valley Mall just yet. Now, I'm going to step away from that rant and get back to the Beaver Valley Mall. Now, it is clear that this mall is not healthy and needs some TLC. It has made some transfers to mixed use, which is a step forward to keeping this mall and its existing infrastructure going. You also have 3 out of 4 anchors to shop at, along with the Dick's Sporting Goods. But more does need to be done. Although a more pressing issue I have found is that the nearby town of Monica is on the decline. Population figures are dropping, and have been for a long time, and while they appear to be stabilizing, that is not good at all for business. So that's going to be a nasty screwball to deal with. Do any of you have some thoughts on what could be done for this mall? Do share down below. Thanks for having me, Monica, Pennsylvania. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Beaver Valley Mall farewell and good luck in this future.